But I can tell you that there's a lot of people that get caught up in a lot of things, and the police are out there. They're very aggressive. And one of the things we're here to talk about today
Easy, I'm a cop supporter.
I'm a big cop supporter too, and you know, a lot of my friends are cops.
Yeah.
But there, and in fact, while I was waiting here, I got a text from a detective who wanted to know what I was doing on the radio.
Yeah.
So I'm a big supporter of the police, but the bottom line is they're out there, they're very aggressive, and sometimes they do step over the line.
Okay.
We have John Campbell and Peter Tilem from the law offices at Tilem and Campbell.
Yes.
And they're located in Westchester, but you service all of New York, what you call downstate New
Yes,
York.
give these men some headphones because questions will be coming their way, please.
Yes, and you specialize in criminal defense, including DWI, traffic violations, gun crimes, weapons crimes,
prostitution,
escort service, and prostitution-related offenses. You also do some other things. I asked you, what is Article 78 proceedings? Well, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But anyway, their website is 888anycrime.com.
Yeah.
That's 888anycrime.com. You can reach them at 1-888-ANYCRIME. That's their phone number.
Now, Peter, you were Tilem, right? Peter Tillman?
Tilem, correct.
Let me just say Counselor Tilem. You spent 10 years, you were the district attorney or within the district attorney's office?
I was an assistant district attorney in Manhattan.
Okay.
Robert Morgenthau was a district attorney at the time and still is.
Yeah. So you have connections.
I know some people.
Okay, sir, you are my new best friend. Let's cut to the chase. We'll exchange numbers after the show. Let's get into this and let's get the phones popping, folks. If you have questions for these attorneys at law, 718-421-7500. That's 718-421-7500. What do people need to know here today?
Well, we started talking during the break, and what our point is that we're pro-police.
Yeah.
Everyone I think here on the show is pro-police, but sometimes
even DX who was tasered twice. Go ahead.
But sometimes the police step over the line, and sometimes people make mistakes. They're entitled to a defense, and it's not the end of the world. A lot of lawyers go in there and feel like, okay, you know, there's nothing I can do. What can I do against the police? What can I do against the prosecutor? I have to take what they're going to give my client.
This is where your connections are strong. And let's be real here. It's who you know, because not all of us, but many of us have stood before a judge, and we knew in our heart of hearts, this isn't right, but I'm going to cop out. I'm going to plead to a lesser charge because I don't know anybody.
Well, it's also what your lawyer knows. And if your lawyer knows how to fight that case, then you've got someone on your side who says to you, no, that's not a good deal.
Right.
We have the following 3 defenses, and we're going to fight this case.
A good lawyer is like you guys, yes. And not to say that court-appointed lawyers aren't good lawyers, but, you know, court-appointed lawyers are like, look, buddy, if I was you, I'd cop out. It's just 6 months of life. Really stupid.
And Star, that's why we're here. I think the point is that people have experiences with court-appointed lawyers, and they're very busy. They have a lot of cases, and I don't want to talk about their skills because I think some of them are very skilled and some of them are probably not very skilled. But the point is, if you get a lawyer who's on your side, a lawyer who's a former prosecutor, a lawyer who knows the system, you have a good chance, and you can fight the case. We use retired NYPD detectives to do our investigations. Okay, so we don't have to just take whatever story the police give us. We can conduct our own investigation.
Let me ask you a question now. With the internet and video being so much of a tool of law enforcement these days, you get someone that comes to you and they have these claims that they were violated their rights and assaulted, yada, yada, yada. But then when you go to the videotape of the officer's cruiser and you see something totally different, you as a lawyer, you have to give this person the best advice. And the person still doesn't want to take, the fact that they are more than likely looking at a year in jail. How hard is it to convince that person?
Clients who hire us are hiring us because of our experience. They're people who didn't want to go with the public defender. So they're very often taking our advice. And if we tell someone that we think that that's a good plea deal, very often they're going to agree with us because they don't view us as part of the system the way they view public defenders, legal aid attorneys.
Right.
So we have good relationships with our clients. They trust us, and they follow our advice for the most part.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to like drop a client? Do lawyers do that?
Certainly, we do have times where we will terminate services with a client.
Yeah.
It comes about in several occasions. We can have disagreements over whether or not we feel that they should or should not take a plea.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the decision is theirs. We have situations where sometimes services are terminated because we just cannot have a working relationship with the client any further.
Okay.
Getting back to the video situation that you were talking with Peter, we find, as funny as this sounds, that many times the video actually helps the defendant. Many times when you actually, as the defense attorneys, get the video of the sobriety testing and the field sobriety testing, it turns out to be quite helpful and never really quite matches what was written in the report as to what the defendant did.
Well, just for the record, I think Rodney King was totally out of line.
Stop it.
Now,
he wouldn't comply.
if there was no
and
video,
he was acting in a very disorderly manner.
and if there was no video of that Rodney King beating, he would have been convicted of all those charges. So,
The
that's.
man was high on PCP. But we have a bunch of calls for you guys. 718-421-7500.
Well, I think that's a pretty common problem. I don't know what your last name is, but the bottom line is that if you have a common last name, all they're doing is a name check every time you get arrested.
Yeah.
And name checks could be ambiguous, and they have to be cleared up. So there's not a lot that can be done for you if you have a common name, someone with the same date of birth. Well, obviously, your name and date of birth matches some profile of someone who has a warrant in the system. Now, what happens to you after they run their check and they tell you there's a recidivist warrant? Does the case get dropped? Do they take your fingerprints at that point, or they just...
Well, I've got a suggestion. Why don't you give these gentlemen a call, come down and see them, and I'm sure they can do some type of research, background work, and help you out.
Absolutely. And look, there's a lot that can be done for you. We could perhaps write a letter to the warrant squad and see if we can get this cleared up.
There you go. Your phone number is?
888-ANY-CRIME.